like Spencer Moore has the kind of resume to get an at-large bid.
I agree. Yeah, I think he's put together a good enough year with the quality of wins that he has. You know, considering that win over Eddie Ventresca as well, that he should get his ticket punched. It's hard for him to have to wait to see and make sure the committee agrees with that. But I think all 5 of those guys we're going to see at the NCAA tournament in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The Ventresca win is pivotal because there's qualifiers, there's All-Americans, and then there's contenders. And Eddie Ventresca, when he beat Robinson earlier in the year, he kind of announced himself as more of a contender than anything else. And a win like that carries a lot of weight in the eyes of the committee.
Yeah, Eddie Ventresca, the winner of that 125-pound final could end up being the 1 or 2 seed even, probably the 2 seed at the national tournament.
That's right.
Really announced themselves as contenders, and looking forward to that one.
Yeah, Richie Figueroa going down yesterday really shook up the seating going into the NCAA tournament for 125 pounds, so it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out.
In here in the consolation round at 133, it's Ethan Oakley, who was the #1 seed, but no real surprise that Orini knocked him out. Orini, just a machine for NC State, taking on Raymond Adams out of Duke. There's 3 qualifiers at 133. So to put it simply here, Rhino and Jacob, you got to win this one for just a chance to then earn that automatic qualifier. So they've got two bricks they've got to build here, and it starts right now.
Yeah, and this match was, I don't want to say surprisingly, it was closer in the duel. Tight, contested match. Adams wrestled Oakley really tough. Oakley, a transfer from Appalachian State. He's been at the tournament. He's been a SoCon champion. He's going to have to navigate the backside now as a top 10 ranked guy against a guy in Adams at Duke who's really got nothing to lose again, can put himself out there and just try and steal this one.
And on mat 1 there, Tyler Knox wrapped up the win on the other side, Consi semi. So that's a guy that you're going to see in that match. And, if you're Ethan Oakley, you've got a win over him prior in the year. So that's a guy that you should have confidence again. And then if you are Raymond Adams from Duke and you get a win over Ethan Oakley, the #1 seed, you got some momentum going into that match to hopefully get that 3rd place finish and that auto allocation into Philadelphia.
The ACC Wrestling Championships coming to you from historic Cameron Indoor Stadium. Home to Glenn Lanham's Duke Blue Devils, where Jacob Casper and Rhino both wrestled. I know every once in a while you would have to wrestle somewhere else for home meets, but when you were wrestling at Cameron Indoor, it had to be a different kind of fire in your bellies, I would imagine.
It's a lot of fun, to get to come out and be part of this historic venue, especially when you get your friends, your fellow athletes there, who can get loud. You can get right on top of the mat, and it's a really special place to be. And the teams that luckily we got to be a part of had a lot of success, and this guy next to me had a lot of individual success here as well. And it was a special time to be a Blue Devil.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to, wrestle in Cameron Indoor numerous times and never was on the bad end of it. So I was fortunate enough to go undefeated actually in Cameron Indoor. And anytime you get in a big arena like this, Dean, at least for me personally, it excited me. When there's more, at stake and there's more on the line and you're in a big arena, whether it was Pittsburgh's arena for the ACC Championship, whether it was Virginia Tech's, whether it was over there at UNC's like it was my senior year, there's just something a little different about competing in an arena than versus the regular everyday gym. And, I think that Cameron Indoor has shaped up nicely. You see the fans coming out in troves right now, and I think that it's going to create a really special memory for a lot of these guys.
Saying amen to that. Well said, as we have no score heading to the 2nd period. What are you seeing right now, Rhino, and Oakley and Adams?
Oakley's really trying to establish that right-sided collar tie. Adams has done a nice job off the snaps, getting his hands down, getting his down block, maintaining good position and trying to keep himself again kind of an unranked guy, the underdog here, trying to put himself in position to have a chance to steal this match.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Not as much on a technical standpoint, but in a coaching strategy standpoint from the corner. If I'm Adams, I want to keep this close. Because Oakley, as the 1 seed, came in and had dreams of winning this tournament. Now he's on the backside. His day's already not gone the way he expected. Now he's finding himself in a closer than expected match with a lower seed. And you start to have those negative thoughts creep in. And you want to put all that doubt in his mind if you're Raymond Adams right now.
And Adams has done a nice job on this hand fight at somewhere where he got a bit more controlled in the first match in the duel. Some of this game plan has, Coach Lanham written all over it. Steers, underhooks, control tight position, elbow offs.
Same stuff I used to do to Coach Lanham all the time in the room, huh, Rhino?
Yeah, back in the day.
Just don't tell him
The
I
Shark
said that.
Tank.
I don't want beat down again, please.
The good old Shark Tank.
Good.
Adams was a sophomore out of Merrick, New York, and Calhoun High School.
His record is a little bit deceiving. He's wrestled a really, really tough schedule this year. He's a guy who's wrestled a lot of matches for Duke. They've talked about just trying to get him a bit more gritty, working through different positions, having confidence that he can win those positions.
Oakley's hard snaps will help get you there quicker than later. So you see him with heavy hands right now. Oakley's trying to get some level changes going. But like you said, Raymond Adams is kind of in the fight and persisting. And when you do have 28, 30 matches a season, I think that's pivotal, especially for a guy that's trying to develop. I think there's become this model in NCAA wrestling now that Penn State kind of sets the precedent on, where they get top guys and then they don't have to wrestle a bunch of matches because they don't have to continue to develop these guys. But that's not the case at Duke University. Coach Glenn Lanham does a better job than anyone at developing talent, and that comes through reps and experience. And that's what you've seen out of Raymond Adams this year, toeing the line 28 times and holding a match 1-0 going into the third period here against the number 1 seed Ethan Oakley.
Yeah, you've got to be battle tested, and there's a lot more, it's a long season. More coaches are kind of trying to navigate that with some of their guys. A young guy like Adams who needs more development, needs to see more angles, needs to see more different attacks, needs kind of that volume. Good shot by Oakley.
Yeah, something that Daniel Cormier actually was talking to me this past week about is there comes a point where you, in your fighting career or in your wrestling career, you just sort of get used to reacting and seeing what's coming. And that only is done by trial by fire. And, toeing the line 28 times will do that for you. As we're looking for neutral near fall danger here.
He's going to push off. Adams is going to have to try to get that bottom leg out. And get his hips up. This is going to end up being a score for Oakley. That should be the 3. He takes a 4-0 lead.
And now we're going to see Adams on bottom, where he clearly didn't want to elect to go in the third period and probably thinks that he's going to struggle a little bit. But this can be a confidence builder just as likely for him if he can get away quickly here.
Absolutely. And even, this is where you got to figure something out late in the year. This could be the last match of the season. So you can figure something out, make something happen. As you said, in this spot for certain guys, you've really got nothing to lose, and you just kind of try to create wrestling because your season's on the line.
A little bit of blood time there for a stoppage in action. And what are you telling Oakley then if you're in the corner here?
Might hear a lot of the cliches, 1, not 2 type stuff, just solid wrestling, get to a wrist, forward pressure.
Just remind him of the basics, huh? There's a reason he was the 1 seed that got him to this point.
Just same thing you've been, just position, forward stalking. You don't want him to get wild and throw a leg or start doing, more risky things to chase bonus points at this point. You just want to get your guy to the next round.
So Oakley came into the ACC tournament at 13-4. He's got a 4-0 lead with a minute remaining here in the third.
And he does end up throwing a leg.
Jacob, you said Knox won for Stanford?
Knox did win over there. I started the call over there because Mike Macchiavello was supposed to be on the call, one of my close friends and national champ. But if there's one thing I know about Mike Macchiavello, it's that he's going to be 10 to 15 minutes late no matter what. Luckily, back in 2018 in Cleveland, he was not 10 to 15 minutes late, though, as he won his national title at 197 pounds.
He's making a lot of noise for Team USA right now, too, isn't he?
Yes, just took a bronze medal home at an international ranking series event, and I told him no matter what, he's still, my stepson, though.
Those are two guys who wrestled back in the day at 184 pounds. Both of them bulked up just a little bit.
Yeah, all jokes aside, Mike Machiavello is about as much of a stand-up guy as you can find, and he's got the credentials to back it up. Also, it's a testament to his work ethic and how much he developed over under Pat Popolizio at NC State.
Yeah, I called the ACC's at Reynolds with Michael, and you're right, stand-up guy for sure.
Yeah, I think that's what's cool about ACC wrestling and wrestling in general is you meet some of the best people as Adams gets to his feet to get one escape just prior to riding time being secured. Some of your best friends will come from this sport. During the break there, I got to catch up with Nick Wisdowski, who's up in the stands, multiple-time NCAA champ, multiple-time world medalist, and just some of those bonds formed in sweat, both as competitors and as teammates, they're long-lasting.
All right, so it is going to be a win for Oakley, who will put himself in a position to take on Tyler Knox for the third place spot and a spot in Philadelphia. As we move forward now to